Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast. My name is Nadra Sayed, and with me, as always, is my brother and co-host and a podcaster who now has more than 50,000 subscribers on their channel. This is Bashaar Sayed. Bashaar, welcome back to the podcast.
Why did you say with me is my brother always? I was in their last episode.
So last episode was an interesting one. It was a solo pod that you had me do, and it was an India appreciation pod that I had to do solo, which a lot of people can deduce their own conclusions as to why you chose to be on vacation during the final of a T20 World Cup when half of your occupation is leading a cricket podcast. So I'd let the fans do the speculation there, but I had to do it on my own.
Hey, good job, man. That was a really good podcast. I heard it on my way to the gym and you did a terrific job. It's hard being like doing a podcast solo.
Yeah.
But for you to pull that off, just looking straight into a camera and nailing that, good on you.
A lot of my looking into the camera skills and like doing those YouTube videos were rusty. So that really like shaved off a lot of that doubt that I had that I could even pull that off. And honestly, it was a lot of fun. I just like let it rip. I was just going off on like how much I love Virat Kohli and how much Rohit Sharma's captaincy means to me and how much I crave that sort of pull of consistency and appreciation for these players towards my Pakistani compatriots. And hopefully it'll come a time where I do a solo podcast just on how amazing Pakistan cricket is. But as it stands right now, we are doing a T20 World Cup wrap-up episode. I know the World Cup has passed. Cricket world moves so fast, Bashaar, that the MLC has started, the Lanka Premier League has started, and a series between a series between India and Zimbabwe has started. The women's cricket has started.
There's a World Championship of Legends happening, and for some reason, Sohaib Maqsood is playing for Pakistan.
He's a top player. He's a top player for Pakistan right now. Like that's the world we live in. And so much cricket has already restarted that the fact that the World Cup has ended not even a week ago seems like it ended like 3 years ago. But we will keep the moments alive. I know the Indian fans are reeling right now, but as just generalist fans of cricket, we want to make sure that we hit all the strides into our World Cup campaign. And this might be the last World Cup campaign video that we do. And then we'll move on to bigger and better things. This is episode number 99. If people are paying attention to the codes, we've done way more than 100 episodes. Let's be honest. We've done like 40, 50 odd in the previous channel that we had. 82 on the previous channel that we had. We did somewhere about 11 or 12 for Islamabad United as well. And then we've done 99 on this channel, including a bunch of live streams and so on and so forth. That just goes to show for this channel, though, as the numbering stands, we are on number 99. Are we on the nervous 90s? Are we going to make it to 100? 100%. We will. And we have something big planned for number 100. It's going to be an Ask Us Anything. No bars held or no held bar, whatever the expression goes. And we're going to ask, non-cricket related questions, whatever you guys have. Keep it respectful. And we'll answer those for 100th extravaganza / 50,000 subs / we're so happy that people still listen to us podcast.
50,000 subs, man. Congratulations. That's a huge achievement.
Congratulations to everybody who listens to our podcast and who participates, comments, emails, texts, DMs, like all of you guys. This is the reason why we do this. And the fact that there's 50,000 of you guys out there, like when we had 1,100, we had the same amount of dedication that we have at 50,000. If anything now, it's just gotten that much more aggravated and we want to give you guys the best episode that we can. The research team is incredible. It's all Bashaar. He does the entire research, the editing team, the graphic design team. Everybody's pumped at the milestone that we reached. All eyes on 100,000 now and onwards and upwards from there.
Absolutely. Let's get into the World Cup wrap up. I wanted to give firstly Bashaar's POV on the final.
Yeah.
So I'll just rewind 6 months ago. One of my friends from university reaches out to me and says he's booking a camping site in Algonquin Park and he wants me to come. I've never been camping before in my entire life. I'm not that type of guy who wants to spend days in nature. Like I love to go for a hike. I've been to Banff and Alberta, which is a beautiful mountainous area. I've never been camping. And I'm all about having new experiences, experiencing new things that I've never experienced before. So I told him, bro, the campsite you booked is in the finals weekend of the T20 World Cup. Now, I am a cricket podcaster, so one of my jobs is to cover cricket, do live streams, do match previews, reviews. So I'm not sure if I can make it, especially if Pakistan makes it to the final. I'm definitely not going. He says, I understand, do your thing, I'll check back. Now, June comes around and he's like, bro, are we still on for the camping trip? And I'm like, yeah, bro, we're still on. Pakistan can make the finals. If they do, I'm 100% not going.
What a naive time to live in as a Pakistan cricket fan.
10 days in the tournament, he calls me. And mind you, my friend doesn't follow cricket. He doesn't know probably anything about cricket. But he calls me, I think, the day after USA beat Pakistan.
Yeah.
And for someone like him who doesn't follow cricket to know about that match and then to call me just asking for confirmation on my trip. And by that time, I think a couple of days later, Pakistan lost to India.
Had you heard the news about USA beating Pakistan?
He did. He did.
So it's like
he saw it on Bleacher Report, on ESPN.
It was everywhere.
It was all over the news. Plus, he's also Indian. So he's like, man, Nathar Walker, my Indian boy, got it.
Yeah, good for him, man. Good for him.
And then when Pakistan lost to India, he sort of knew that Pakistan's eliminated. So I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm coming. Like, I'm there. I have no choice but to come.
How was the trip?
Cathartic.
Okay. As a boxing cricket fan or just in life?
I think this whole World Cup coverage was quite hectic.
Yeah.
I think we did around 14 episodes in 4 weeks, which is an episode every other day, plus like a 6-hour live stream. So all of that gets taxing on you. So I think I needed that trip just to disconnect. And I sort of had no choice but to disconnect because I'm in the forest, in the woods, and I didn't have any data.
Yeah.
Right. I had to go to specific points within the forest where I would get some reception, but that would still only be for text messages or maybe 1 or 2 bars of data. Internet.
Yeah.
All right. So you come to the day of the finals, right? The game starts here at 10:30 a.m. I wake up at the campsite 8, 9 a.m. I go to the central washroom, which is in the middle of the forest where everybody goes to
do their
thing. And as I'm walking there, I see an Indian family close to the restroom and they're playing cricket in the forest. And I'm like, man, Canada cricket, it's growing.
And you're like, at that point, I would just be like, did I just like walk through the wardrobe of Narnia and just end up at like a cricket Narnia? Because I'm in the forest. These are like these Indian people are playing cricket. Like you're like in a fever dream. Or you must be like, have I died and gone to heaven?
I felt really proud. I'm
really?
Like, we're at that point in Canada where cricket's being played deep in the forests of Algonquin Park.
Yeah.
So I saw them and I felt really happy. Anyways, I do my business. I go back home to my campsite. And then we're driving up to this cafe nearby and I'm getting some reception there. So I would say out of the whole final, I probably watched 4 balls of the whole final. Like
live.
On the live stream. I watched Virat Kohli getting out at long on by Mark Jansen. I watched Quinton de Kock hit a boundary over fine leg and the next ball get caught when the fielder was pushed back.
Yeah.
I saw David Miller hit a boundary, took a leap on the offside, and that's all I saw. But I was following scorecards in intervals.
I was texting you everything. Like it was basically ESPN quick info via text messages.
It reminded me the times when we were in Karachi and you would be like on your way from school to going home. I would get a U-phone package and I would be your cricket info.
Yeah, it's true.
I'd be updating you over by over Pakistan score. I remember there was this T20 World Cup going on in 2012 and there was this Pakistan match probably in the time of the afternoons here. And I was messaging you ball by ball, over by over, this is the score. And that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was generally like one of those things where I felt like I went back to Karachi and like the power outages and we're like texting our cousins and stuff like that. It was one of those things. And I got you all up to dated and I was basically just like, I was quicker than Crick Info was.
You were.
I was live. I was like, boom, boom, this happened. And how was it celebrating with the Indian family?
54 needed in 6 overs for South Africa.
Yeah.
And then that huge over from Klaassen where he hits 24 to Akshar Patel and 30 off 30. I'm like, this is it. South Africa's won the match. Like they can't bottle this. They have Klaassen on strike. He's hitting the ball everywhere and anywhere. I haven't seen what he's doing, but I'm seeing the Crick Info scorecards, the ball by ball commentary, and I can't believe what I'm watching. because I understand the heartbreak that India has gone through the past 10, 11 years of ICC tournaments. They haven't won anything. And to be this close and to like somehow lose it again, I couldn't imagine the sort of backlash that these players would have gotten. So come the last 3 overs, and I see they need like 20 something, right? I try to go to the bathroom site in hopes that I might have better reception so I can watch the match, or that I can go to that Indian family because some of them might have a different provider. Maybe they have coverage. So I go to them and everyone's glued to the phone. This guy's on a chair looking for coverage somewhere. And that's what I'm like, can you please text me the ball by ball update of the last 2 overs?
Yeah, that's when you texted me and then I was giving you a live update.
Because I was still getting text, no internet, but texts were still coming through.
Yeah. And how was that reaction like celebrating with the team?
It was insane. The one thing I noticed is that the Indians there, couldn't believe India had won until the last ball was bowled.
Okay. Like
16 off 6, and then Sky takes that catch. I told them that happened. They're like, it's so refreshing. Is it a 6? What happened? Is the match over? And I'm like, guys, Sky just took one of the best catches of the World Cup.
Yep.
And Miller is out. But they couldn't believe India won until the last ball is bowled.
So they were stressed out.
They were stressed. I'm like, bro, it's Rabada batting. Like, just chill out.
But Rabada did hit it like a top at 4. So.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rely on Rabada. Like,
no, things were pretty much out of South Africa's hands by then. But it was still like, I guess this is something that I don't know who I was listening to, but I think it was Buttafaz who noticed that like when West Indies won the World Cup in 2016, it was pure aggressive enjoyment. Like they were angry about how how they won. It was a release of endorphins and a release of this like energy. For India right now, it was more of a relief. Like everybody collapsed when they won. And then after I heard that, I went back and I noticed everybody's reaction. Like Rohit Sharma's on the floor, Pandya's on the pitch, Kohli's just like shoulders dropped, just like looking at the skies. Everybody's crying. And this did feel like a moment of true just elation for these guys. These guys have been chasing this since 2013. It's been 11 years. They came very close, but they did not have that spark to just move it over the line, just that 1 inch. And they came so close so many times, but there was better teams there that had their day who went on and sealed the deal. And once that happened, I realized that this means a lot more for these players than because I was a little bit like, as a Pakistani cricket fan, I was like a bit bitter. I was like, man, it's over for Pakistani fans. Like it was over for a long time, but like that bragging right, the people were just like, what bragging rights did you guys have? Just the fact that we had an ICC trophy in the past 11 years and you guys...
The fact that Sri Lanka had an ICC trophy.
Like that was our thing with our fans. It was like, hey guys, like Indian fans, love you guys, but you guys might be the best. Like take this into account. I think the past 2 ICC tournaments, India has only lost 1 game.
Yeah.
2 straight tournaments and India has lost 1 game. And that was the final of 2023 ODI World Cup. Like that's an insane record. So obviously no one's coming close to that. But as Pakistan fans who are like number 5 and 6 on the table, mid-tier teams are like, guys, 2017, we still have that. You guys might be the best team in the world, but it's been 11 years. And I was still kind of reeling with that. But then once I took a step back and looked at it from all angles, I was like, no, this is bigger than anything that we think it is. This is Rohit Sharma's legacy. This is Virat Kohli's legacy. Ravindra Jadeja's legacy as well. Like if you wanna do that.
Rahul
Dravid's legacy, yes. This is a homecoming for a lot of these guys and they deserve it. They're extremely hardworking. They've been chasing this for a very long time and their moments come, so let them enjoy it.
Now, when India won the World Cup, I was celebrating with the Indian fans.
Yeah.
Because I didn't tell them that I was Pakistani. They thought I was Indian. And so...
To this day, they think you're Indian.
Till this day.
Yes.
And it was a pretty big group of people. There were like kids, there were couples, there were old age uncles and aunties. And they're giving me high fives. They're hugging me. I'm hugging them back. I'm like, bro, let's go.
You're like in tears, like, oh my God.
Let's get it, bro.
Virat finally got it.
And I said, tell them congrats. I went back and it took me a while to just soak everything in, like what this means, the repercussions, the celebrations in India that could have
that we just saw.
We just saw in Mumbai.
The thing that we have, like, I think, in retrospect, it's been a week. We've seen the celebrations. There was a huge hurricane right after the World Cup final. Like, the teams got stranded. They came back. The reception they got, Marine Drive in Mumbai just completely blocked out. Like, millions of people there. I felt like all of India just stood up and there in that one strip. And just to see that, what it meant to these players, to see Virat Kohli. I don't know if you want to go to this part now, because you have a segment here where it says, did VK deserve the player of the match? And we can discuss this, but just a little bit on Virat Kohli again. A lot has been said in the past 7 to 8 days about him, and some deservedly so. Like the congratulations that are coming in, the praises that are coming in, like there's nothing to take away from VK. But this is what I've seen him that has impressed me the most about him. His humility towards this entire campaign. That's something that I, as a Virat fan, just his respect for me has elevated tenfold. The way that he was humble and just down to earth when he was accepting the PoTM, the way that he was when his post-match interviews were happening, when he went back to India, he didn't fail to mention Bumrah, he didn't fail to mention what Rohit did for him, he didn't fail to mention how this was a team effort and not just a one-man thing. And that's where I'm like, man, the grace, like you can see the white in his beard and the white in his hair, but you can also feel the humility and grace that has come with being in the Indian team for over 15 years, just being an integral part of that campaign. That's my highlight of this tournament. If nothing else, seeing someone who's at the top of their game, the greatest of all time, no doubt, no comparison in this era that there is anybody that can come close to what Virat has achieved. But to see him look back and look fondly upon his players, the younger generation, and give way to the new cricketers, that's why I think he is who he is.
I saw a clip of Virat going back into the dressing room, and Rohit Sharma sort of meets him in the middle and hugs him, and Virat is like holding in a tear. And he knew this is his last match for India in T20s, and to win it on a high, that just means everything. Like the amount of sacrifice that Virat Kohli has put in all throughout his career with his fitness, with his diet. I heard him say in an interview that he doesn't really care about the taste of his food. He'll have steamed food, he'll have boiled food. He does not care what it tastes like.
Yeah.
And that is the sacrifices that he is willing to do to be a top level athlete, to contribute to wins for India.
Yeah, 100%. And he deserves his flowers. Now, the question that you've posed, did he deserve to get the player of the match? What do you think?
Well, imagine this, right? 30 India 30 balls, South Africa. And imagine hypothetically if India had lost the match, the biggest criticism would have come on Virat Kohli's innings. 78 runs, 128 strike rate, and not a single boundary hit by Virat Kohli between overs 3.5 to 17.1. So middle overs was just singles and doubles. Now, in hindsight, that's criticism, right? He played kind of slowly in the middle. Maybe you can say India was 3 down, but Virat Kohli can still play the innings because of the players that are playing around him. Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant, Sky, and then Akshar Patel. These guys play so fast, Virat Kohli can still go ahead and do his anchoring, if you want to call it. But I can't imagine if India had lost the World Cup, a lot of the brunt of this loss would have come to India being like about 20 runs under par, Virat playing so slow, and then that would have been just horrible for his legacy and the way he wanted to sign off from this tournament.
Yeah, but then doesn't that warrant him the player of the match even more? Because if those runs didn't come, I agree with you that the innings was a bit slow, but it was very well paced. If you look at when the aggression started, and like his last 25 runs came off of around 10 or 8 balls, or 8 or something like that. It was like a 200 or 250 strike rate. And at that point, when they were 34 for 3 or 30 for 3, India was in the power play, you needed somebody to consolidate. And Akshar Patel, on the other hand, was hitting over a 150, 160 strike rate. So it wasn't like it was all, they went down to like a 5-run rate. They were still at 7-8, 7-8. They were trying their best to get India to a better total. If Virat had gone out there and wanted to go at a 200 strike rate and got out for like 40 runs, then that's like 30 runs less on India's total, right? And if that was the case, this game would have been done when Hendrik Klaasen hit the 24 off Akshar Patel. It was over. That game.
Well, I really feel like India pulled the game back because of their bowling, not because of those runs that Virat scored. Like that over from Bumrah and then Hardik Pandya getting the wicket of Klaassen, that to me, like that last 5 overs was the game-changing stuff.
Yeah, but you don't get those 5 overs if you don't get those extra runs. It's like what came first?
Catch 22.
No, I mean, I'll tell you what came first. It was Virat's innings. So that's why he gets the player of the match. Also, there's legacy behind that, bro. Like, I honestly, coming back to the legacy player of the matches, semi-final 2011, Pakistan versus India. Why did Tendulkar get the man of the match?
Yeah.
Like he got dropped 4 times and he scored 84 off like 100 balls or something.
Probably his least visually pleasing innings.
And his least impactful innings as well. Like, I don't know. Maybe the bowling side should have gotten the wickets there, the player of the match there. But he did.
Or even Raina in that semi. I think he took 50, right?
Yeah, something of that nature. Yeah. They got Pakistan to a target that the Pakistan was struggling to chase. So sometimes you got to do that for legacy's sake. And I understand that. I get that. I don't mind. You want to talk about Jasprit Bumrah?
Yeah. So Jasprit Bumrah was about to move to Canada and settle down here as a plan B. His mom had given him an ultimatum that until 10th standard or after 10th standard, if you go ahead and do what you want, have fun, enjoy it. But if it doesn't go your way, being a cricketer, you got to go to Canada. And luckily for Bumrah, he made his Ranji debut. He made his IPL debut when he was 19.
And unluckily for Saad Zafar, he would have had a better bowler than Jeremy Gordon.
Imagine Bumrah playing for Canada this World
Pakistan
Cup.
would have lost 2 games. Pakistan would have lost against USA and Canada this World Cup. It would have been horrible.
So, yeah, luckily for Bumrah, like his career trajectory went into a certain way. He had that X factor in his bowling action and his variations, and he has worked tremendously hard on recovering from back-to-back injuries and his lower back. And it's the way that BCCI has managed him over the years. They know he is one of India's biggest assets, and so they manage him accordingly. And if you look at the last T20 World Cup that happened in Australia, India really missed Bumrah. He was injured in that World Cup, and India put up a below par score against England. Maybe in hindsight, you can say if Bumrah was in that semi-final, they could have gotten some wickets, they could have contained the runs better, and India could have won that World Cup or gotten to the final at least.
Yeah.
But he showed in this World Cup why he is the greatest wide ball T20 bowler in the world right now. Economy of around 4, taking wickets in crunch situations. I think he's won India 2 matches that I can recall off the top of my head. The first one against Pakistan, which is one of the most watched matches in the world. And the reason why I bring up performances against Pakistan for an Indian player or performances against India for a Pakistani player is India versus Pakistan is a high pressure match. The global audience that is watching is in the millions, if not over 1 billion. So if you're performing in those crunch situations, you're clutch.
Yeah. And that's what makes you a superstar.
So against Pakistan, he comes in where Pakistan needs 40 off 36. We have Rizwan playing. First ball comes in, takes Rizwan's wicket, only gives 6 runs in his 2 overs in the death. India wins that match. The game against South Africa, the finals, India needs 30 off 30, and he again gives just 6 runs off 2 balls, and he is unplayable. Like that first over he bowled, the wicket of Reza Hendricks. Like that is a proper test match wicket. Ball angling in, pitching middle off, swinging, nipping away, hitting the top of off stump. That is the length you want to be bowling. And then in the death, he bowls the same ball, but this one nips back and bowls Marco Jansen.
Yeah.
High skill. Absolutely beautiful to watch.
It's easy on the eyes as well. Like you love to see that over and over again. Like you want a gif of it that you just can't keep it on loop and you see the ball nipping in and nipping out. It's one of those things where like we're in the middle of our cricket season and some of the players in our team, when they get bowled, clean bowled, they're like, oh my God, the ball swung like Bumrah did. And I was like, did it really? Did it really, guys? Or you just play all around it? And that's sort of how integral his bowling has become, that in the grassroots cricket, when people are playing in amateur leagues like we do, the comparisons are there. And that's when you know that an idea has seeped so deep into the culture that it's like an everyday thing. And Bumrah's bowling has become synonymous to swing and excellence.
The new trend within young players in the subcontinent is to copy Bumrah's bowling action.
The motorbike.
It is, bro, they're walking in, they're using their hands, they're nipping it, they're whipping their hands, turn a ball quick, like Bumrah. Like, he is an inspiration for so many bowlers out there. I look up to him with the sort of variations that he has, the skill he has to nail Yorkers, to nail length balls, to ball bouncers, slower balls. He bowls according to the situation, according to his field, and just gives what's needed at the moment for the team.
Okay, so I have a little bit of a controversial question here. I was, again, listening to Butta Fast, and Ahmed Naqvi posed a very controversial statement. He said that, so Ahmed Naqvi said that Jasprit Bumrah is a better bowler than Wasim Akram. Thoughts?
I think it's too early to compare both of them. I think Bumrah has half the wickets that Wasim Akram has. And Bumrah is 30. I don't know how long he can play and sustain with the action he currently has. He's a good bowler, but I wouldn't compare eras. I wouldn't even compare Sachin with Virat because, again, it's comparing eras, right? You're comparing the bowlers at Sachin face versus the bowlers at Virat face. The game has changed recently. So I wouldn't like to compare any player of any era. Let's appreciate both of them in their own auras. But Bumrah, I think, has a long way to go to match Wasim Akram's legacy.
Gun to your head, you have to choose one.
Oh, this is tough. If I have to choose one, what's the scenario?
It's just who's the best bowler. The guns to your head, they'll pop you off. You don't choose either Bumrah or Wasim Akram. All format.
I'm going to pick Wasim Akram all format.
Even T20s?
New ball, he can swing the ball both ways. He has pace, awkward action.
Pace,
accurate. Yeah. He can hit the ball on a coin on any length. He can ball in any conditions. You can reverse the ball. And, well, he has a player of the match in an ODI World Cup final.
It's true. Fair enough. There you go.
Plus, he's a better batsman.
Yeah.
Lower order hitter.
He can give you some runs in the lower
highest score of 257, which is a higher score than what Sachin has in test matches.
That's a crazy stat. That's a wild stat.
The only
That's not going to trigger anybody, guys.
The only problem I have with Jasprit Bumrah is that I've heard Indians call him Boom Boom. And Boom Boom, last time I recalled, is a copyright to Shahid Afridi. Shahid Afridi's Boom Boom Afridi.
Yeah.
So Indians, please find a new nickname for Bumrah because Boom Boom is taken. We're not calling Omar Akmal the little master.
And trust me, we want to. We really want to.
We're not calling Ahmed Shehzad King Ahmed Shehzad because that's taken by Kohli.
No. Yo, did you see the Ahmed Shehzad or our TikTok reel got viral? Any thoughts on that?
No thoughts.
800,000 on that, I think.
This one guy said that is so disrespectful. Please do it again.
I think that encompasses the whole Ahmed Shehzad era quite well. Let's move on to Hardik Pandya. He's become the number one all-rounder, highest impact in this T20 World Cup, and had a sensational spell in the final that got Henrik Larsson out. I think he's the next T20 captain, right? It's not announced, but that's the vibe?
That is the understanding, that Hardik Pandya will lead the Indian T20 team for the next T20 World Cup. And just what a player, man. Just his batting, his bowling, his dedication to India, what he's been through the past 6 months, and for him to come out here.
What has he been through in the past 6 months? Can you give me like an overview?
I think the problem started when he moved from Gujarat Titans, where he was the captain, and he moved from Gujarat to Mumbai Indians. And Mumbai Indians is where Rohit Sharma was the captain. So Rohit was removed as captain, and Hardik Pandya was brought in to captain Mumbai Indians. And that, I think, did not sit well with the whole Mumbai Indians fans. And also, it didn't help because Pandya didn't have a good tournament. Mumbai didn't finish at the highest level. So all of that just came back to him.
He was getting booed at every game, like from his home fans, and then his personal life as well.
Yeah.
Rumors about a divorce or something of that nature, and people making fun of him online for that. Yeah, man. Like the one thing about having such a huge single sport following in a huge country like India with 1.2, 1.3 billion people is that the praises are loud, but the negativity is louder.
Yeah.
And stuff like that does take a toll on even a champion like Pandya. And it showed. Like, he was the one who couldn't stop crying the entire time after they won.
Last time I saw him cry was when Pakistan was beaten by India at the MCG, and he was crying in the post match, remembering his dad. His dad passed away, and he said his dad would have loved to watch this match to see the partnership that he had with Virat Kohli. And I'm sure he was probably remembering his dad again, because he'd love to have seen his son win the World Cup for India.
That's very Michael Jordan. Remember that when his in the documentary they talked about how during the break his dad passed away, he got murdered, and when he won the 4th chip, he was in tears because of his dad.
It's a good thing you mentioned Michael Jordan. I wanted to make a point on Virat Kohli. So Virat Kohli at this point, he has transcended the sport of cricket. He is a global athlete, recognized everywhere for what is achieved, how he's changed the sport. The one thing I have against Virat Kohli is that if you look back on peak Virat Kohli, I'm talking about 2016, 17, 18, 19, peak Virat Kohli did not win a tournament for India.
Yeah.
And if you look back at peak Michael Jordan, 5 chips.
Unbeatable,
Kobe, 5 chips. LeBron James won tournaments for Miami and Cavs. Messi, towards the end of his career, also won a chip. So
I mean, so did Virat at the end of his career. He did finally win in India.
I know, but like 2014, he was played the tournament. 2016, played the tournament, but
in vain.
In vain.
Yeah, nothing to no chips to show for. I totally agree with that. But the thing is, cricket is a little bit of a different beast than the other sports are. I think the other sports, the players get more of a chance to secure those championships. There's a championship every single year for the NBA. T20 World Cup happens every 2 years. And then
Virat played a Champions Trophy, ODI World Cup, T20 World Cup for every year.
That's true. He did have opportunities to win. He just couldn't get it over. I agree with you. That might be a stain in his legacy, but I think that would have been more aggravated and more pronounced if they did not win this game last week on Sunday. That would have been oh my God. That would have been then Virat Kohli's legacy would have just been the guy who came close but couldn't get it over with. And that's not the case. He's a champion now.
I think one of the reasons why India won is that shift in the mentality within Rohit Sharma and the whole batting lineup. Once they lost to England, the last T20 World Cup by 10 wickets, they realized that they got to stop thinking about personal milestones, about rankings, and just go out there and play for the team. And that is reflected in Rohit's batting. So Rohit's batting in T20Is for the year 2022, he scored 656 runs, average of 25, and strike rate of 134. His stats this year in T20Is, 11 innings, 378 runs, 42 average, 160 strike rate.
Somehow the higher impact, the more dangerous he played, the more runs he got, which was really interesting.
To me, the moment of the tournament is when he was on 92 playing against Australia. He could have easily scored 100. Just knocked it around 1s and 2s, but he kept hitting, and he understands that it's a team game. Nobody will give a crap about how many runs Rohit scored, what his average was, what his strike rate was. Rohit Sharma's legacy now will be introducing Rohit Sharma, India's T20 World Cup winning captain, and a champion. That's his resume.
He's in the conversation with Kapil Dev and MS Dhoni now, forever.
So, I mean, nobody's really going to care about his rankings or his stats. It's going to be about he won a World Cup for India.
Yeah.
And he knew he's going to do whatever it takes to win that. And part of that was playing more aggressively at the top. One more thing to notice is that India didn't really change their team too much from the last World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 7 of the 11 players who played the last semi-final were playing this final, and then Bumrah was injured, so he came back.
I just want to say that Pakistan also did not change a lot of
No, what I'm trying to say is that India changed the way they play.
Yeah. So
instead of changing the personnel, they changed the style and the way they approach the game.
Yeah, I agree, yes. Very true. That I just wanted to know your overall opinion on this World Cup. What did you think about it? It was the slowest World Cup ever played. 7.09 overall run rate, which was the lowest at a men's T20 World Cup. The previous lowest was 7.43 in 2021, played in the UAE, where Pakistan went out in the semifinals. Thoughts on this?
My thoughts are mostly on the US leg of the tournament, where I thought the pitches in New York were below par. I don't think T20 World Cup pitches should be like that. Like 120 being defended, 110, 105 being chased. Like that's not a great promotion for this game of cricket.
But was it fun or not?
That's a different conversation, but I think at least like 150, 160 being scored or chased would have been fun to see. I'm all for having bowlers be more in the game, but there needs to be a balance between bat and ball. You can't have polarized games where like 220s being chased in the IPL, 230s being chased in the PSL, but 120 is being defended in the World Cup.
Yeah.
So there needs to be more of a balance, and I think people want to see boundaries, but also want to see some movement, some swing up front, some reverse swing towards the end. And in that retrospect, it didn't make sense for ICC to spend like $35 million to build a pop-up stadium in New York, actually Long Island, Nassau County, and tear it down a day after all the games that have happened in New York. Like, how is that helping the infrastructure?
Grassroots.
How is it helping like growing the sport within New York?
Yeah. It would have been better if they had invested that $35 million in like audiences and basically facilities that were already there. They could have enhanced that, maybe added more stands, make it permanent. That would have been a lot more convenient for even just the grassroots cricket. But they wanted to make a statement. They wanted to play cricket in New York. They wanted to bring cricket to the Big Apple, the most culturally diverse city in the world. And in that regard, they were successful. But I want to see the long-term repercussions. We won't know until maybe a year or two from now how this actually impacted the USA and cricket there.
Yeah, so you said that this World Cup had like the lowest like run rate of any World Cups, but it also had the highest sixes of any World Cup as well.
Which is weird. Really weird.
Really weird.
517 sixes were hit in the tournament, and it was the first T20 World Cup to have more than 500 sixes hit. The previous highest was 405 in 2021.
We also had no century in this World Cup. The highest score was by Nicholas Poor in this World Cup, 98.
Yes. Interesting. Again, I think I enjoyed it just because I think just the way T20 cricket was so batter heavy, it was nice to see some of them struggle, if I'm being honest. And it was nice to see bowlers like Naveen Haq and Fazil Haq Farooqi and those guys trying to get in some wickets and be in the top 5 contenders of the World Cup. When it comes to the World Cup, having a team of the tournament is important. And we here at Backward Point did curate a team of the tournament with a twist. There's 2 teams that we've curated. Backward Point's team of the tournament and Backward Point's flop team of the tournament. Bashaar, would you do the honors to announce Backward Point's team of the tournament?
Rohit Sharma, captain. Rahmanullah Gurbaz, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hendrik Klaassen, Akshar Patel at number 5, Hardik Pandya, Marcus Stoinis, Rashid Khan, Kuldeep Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, and Fazil Haq Farooqi.
Beautiful. I think this is genuinely the team of the tournament. You had a nice balance of bat and ball. Who was your captain of this World Cup?
Rohit Sharma.
Rohit Sharma was the captain. Beautiful. And I think that is the definitive team of the tournament.
Like if you simulate a game through this tournament, we have Rohit and Gurbaz who play aggressive at the top. We got Sky who can come in and change the course of the game in the middle overs. We got Klaassen, who is a terrific player of spin. Just the pitch map, you see anything full, 6. Anything too short, 6. And I think in hindsight, Pakistan wanted Azam Khan to be that guy for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't pull off. But Klaassen, one of the best strikers of the ball, going about in the middle overs against spin right now. And then we got Akshar Patel, who is sort of you can use him as a floater, like how India used him in this World Cup. He's a lefty, so he can use
go up the order if he needs to be.
Up the order, he can use the dimensions of the ground. This World Cup, wind played a pretty big role, going left to right, right to left, and hitting against the wind. It's a chance of being caught out. So if you have a lefty, he can continue to hit with the wind, regardless of the position.
And then we had the spin of Rashid Khan and Kuldeep Yadav in there as well. That gives you the ball that bowls in and the ball that bowls out. And then Bumrah and Fazil Haq Farooqi. Farooqi being one of the top wicket takers of the tournament, and Bumrah being Bumrah.
And then we got Pandya as a third seamer, and
100%.
then Stoinis if he wants to bowl. as well.
Complete team. I totally agree with this. Now, the moment that everybody's been waiting for. Backward Point's flop team of the tournament. Number 1, Babar Azam. Number 2, Reza Hendricks. Number 3, Aiden Markram. Number 4, Usman Khan. Number 5, Daryl Mitchell. Number 6, Shakib Ul Hasan, who is also the captain of this flop team. Number 7, Shadab Khan. Number 8, Sam Curran. Number 9, Mitchell Stark. Number 10, Jeremy Gordon from Canada. And number 11, Patirana from Sri Lanka. That is a flop team of the tournament. Now, here's the question now. Let me pose it to you. Team of the tournament versus flop team of the tournament. Who wins?
I'm going to bet my money on the flop team.
Really?
Yeah. Let's do an upset, bro. Go out there. Babar Azam plays his 60 off 45 balls.
Yeah.
Reza Hendrick to play a blistering knock. And Markram Usman Khan, you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
The only way...
They had nothing to lose. Let's just say that.
The only way the flop team can win if the match happens in Pindi.
Ooh, interesting.
Make the match happen in Rawalpindi.
If the match happens in Pindi, then Rohit Sharma is going to score like 260 balls.
Well, we got Shakib as captain.
Shakib has done nothing for Bangladesh. Oh my God. That's a whole other like podcast that we can do. Our Bangladeshi fans will get him like really upset about how Shakib Wilson has been for them for the past almost 20 years.
I think we asked them like, when's the last time Shakib was clutch for Bangladesh? Yeah. And they're like, oh, he was just clutch 5 years ago in the 2019 ODI World Cup.
He scored the highest runs.
And we're like, cool, bro.
Tough guys. I think that sort of rounds up the T20 World Cup campaign for Backward Point. This was sort of a follow-up episode. We gave some time to digest all of the nuances with the World Cup and the final and what it means to everybody. We took part in the celebration. We took part in all of the news that was coming up. The league, the Legends Champions League, whatever is going on.
World Championship of Legends.
Yeah, you want to talk about it before we leave?
Who let Sohaib Maksud play that tournament, bro? Like anytime when it says Legends and it's Sohaib Maksud is there, cancel the league. You got to cancel it out.
You think Pakistan's going to win the entire thing?
I'm not following like game by game, but I heard Pakistan's they're unbeaten.
They're just beating England.
There we go. Can we have the Legends team be the main team? Because it's almost like they have a better middle order than our current middle.
Somebody asked it to Shahid Afridi actually. And he was like very polite. He was like, no, our guys are the best. Don't worry. It was just nice, being out and playing against like old friends and all that. But yeah, man, they're unbeaten this far. They might just win the whole thing. But you also have to realize most of these legends, quote unquote, from other teams haven't played cricket in like 5 years. Shoaib Malik is unretired. He's a current Pakistani cricket player.
He still wants to play for Pakistan.
Yes. So like it's a very different ball game altogether. And speaking of, ball game altogether, Vicky Bhai is also in the commentary box. I'm surprised he's not playing because at this point, that's all that's left.
Facts. Do you know Wahab Riaz calls himself Wiki as well?
Wahab Riaz calls himself a lot of things, including chief selector.
Why is our chief selector playing a Legends League? And why is he a legend?
He definitely is a legend. Definitely is a legend in all the wrong ways. I think this is a nice way to end the podcast.
Watching the Legends League made me realize how much I've grown. Like I'm old.
Yeah.
Like watching Shahid Afridi struggle to sprint towards the ball or have Yunus Khan, get beaten. It made me realize that, my heroes growing up are old now.
Yeah.
And my childhood has also passed.
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah. That was a hard realization because it still feels like yesterday, like watching the 2011 World Cup and like Shahid Afridi was at his prime. I literally still go to YouTube and now the ICC like has posted a lot of those compilations of like Afridi's 21 wickets or whatever. And I go back and I'm like, man, what a guy. And recently you and I watched his 141 in test match against India on the big screen and on our TV. And I was like, man, what a guy.
This guy was playing baseball before baseball was
man,
playing.
Him and Imran Nazir opened in one like ODI. They scored like 110 overs. It was insane.
Back.
Like it's insane. Like we got to do a whole episode on like retro Pakistan, 90s Pakistan team. I think that would be just an insane episode just to be like, oh my God, look what we used to do and what we used to be.
And where we have come to,
where we have
what we have become.
Yeah, only the strong have fallen. I think this is a good way to end the podcast. Do you want to talk about India or Zimbabwe or just save it for...
Yeah, let's do a separate podcast for that.
Yeah, let's do
There's a lot of episodes coming up, guys. We plan on covering the England versus West Indies Test Series.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Anderson is playing his final Test match, which is historic in itself.
We have to do a Jimmy Anderson
There's a tribute episode for Jimmy Anderson coming up. We love the guy. He's one of my favorite bowlers, and I look up to him. He's 40 years old, bowling 135, and I take a day to recover after my 25-over match.
Yeah, that's true. I have shin splints. I've been icing my shins for the past 2 days, and I'm 27 years old. So like the respect I have and the kudos that I give to Jimmy Anderson, it's insane. Lots of things in the work. Just because cricket season or World Cup season has ended does not mean cricket season has ended. And backward point, we took a break, but we're back. We're in full swing. The Virat Kohli T20 special episode is coming out soon. Rohit Sharma T20 episode is going to be out as well.
Jadeja? He also retired.
Good for him. The 100th BP episode is also going to be out. And just follow our socials. Check out everything in the description below. Join our Patreon. Support the podcast. And with this, I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching.
Cheers.